Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to episode 7 of the Ben Caplan Show. My name is Ben Caplan, and this is my brand new Philly sports talk show that I do live every weekday right here on TikTok, and you can catch my replays back up on YouTube. So thank you for joining me again on this Friday, December 29th. This is my last show of the 2023. So because of that, we're gonna have a little fun with that. But it's been what a wild ride it's been for the 2023 for the Ben Caplan Show. Am I right? I mean, 7 strong episodes. I know we just started the 7th episode, but I know it's gonna be great. Because I like to say here, we're a really small rocket ship right now, but we're taking this thing all the way to the moon. And when we get there, it's gonna be huge. So I appreciate you joining the ride, and you are going to be very thankful and grateful that you hopped along this rocket ship to the moon. So anyway, happy Friday, special lunchtime edition of the Ben Caplan Show. I usually do these around 5 p.m. Eastern, but on Fridays, I like to get it done a little earlier. But you can always catch my shows on YouTube after I go live. So just please make sure you go to my profile, click that link in my bio, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So a few things that I want to cover today. Well, because it is the last day of 2023, I figured we could do a review of the 2023 Philly sports year, the calendar year of 2023. So we're going to go over that, and then we're going to look forward also to 2024. You know, as Philly sports fans, what do we have to look forward to in the year 2024? I think there's a good amount. I know we're typically Negadelphians over here, but I think there's a lot to look forward to for 2024, and we're going to go over that in a little bit. The chat is popping, so if you want to participate in the conversation, please drop me a chat. I will respond. Got a few people saying, hey, someone just named Philly. Hi, Jerry Sr., what's going on? How you doing? And Scott, thanks for joining. Please let me know what you think, or if you agree or disagree with what I'm saying in the comments. So before I get into the year in review and looking forward, there's a few I want to call them pressing matters, but a few things I wanted to go over that are more relevant. And the first is Avonte Maddox. Now, if we all remember, Avonte Maddox tore his pec in week 2 of the season. And he was put on IR, and as we all thought, he was done. No chance he was coming back. However, a couple weeks ago, they opened the practice portal for him, giving Avonte Maddox a chance to come back. And what I just saw this morning is that Avonte Maddox was a full participant in practice today, and there's a really good chance he's going to play on Sunday against the Cardinals, which that's incredible. That is incredible that Avonte Maddox is able to come back. When you tear your pec, normal recovery time for that is 6 months. So the fact that Avonte Maddox is back in 4 months, ready to play an NFL game, that's a miracle. That is amazing. The only other person I've ever known to come back that fast after tearing their pec is John Cena. Okay, he did it when he came back in the 2008 Royal Rumble. If you haven't seen that clip, go check it out. But it is a serious injury. So it is just a marvel that Avonte Maddox is going to be able to possibly play this Sunday. And it looks like the last week of the season, hopefully playoffs as well. So good for him. That's amazing. But I think everyone needs to recognize for a second how amazing that is that Avonte Maddox has been able to come back so fast from that injury. Yeah, the chat is popping off here. Yes, screwed up Sean. He says that's huge for the Eagles. It is huge for the Eagles. The Eagles secondary has been trash for the majority of the season. Avonte Maddox has been playing the majority of the season. I wonder if there's a correlation there. Yeah, it's Jerry said it's a serious injury. His son tore his. Ooh, that sounds rough. Sorry, Jerry, that your son had to go through that. Yeah, JJ Watt did tear his pec and finish the game, but JJ Watt is a different beast, like screwed up Sean just said. Appreciate you. Yeah, appreciate the comments. Keep them coming. So setting aside the fact that it's just amazing and a miracle that Avonte Maddox is able to play in this game, or has a chance to play in this game, or can even play it at some point for the remainder of the season. How much do we think it's going to help this Eagle secondary? I mean, it's definitely going to help. There's no doubt about that. But how much? This passing defense is ranked 26th in the NFL, and Avonte Maddox hasn't played basically all season. He played in 2 games, or a game and a half, I guess. Does he have his strength? Does he have his stamina? Is he really 100% to make a huge difference for the secondary? I hope so. Um, and I guess the good thing too, because I think the secondary is so bad at this point, anything is going to help. So just the fact that Avonte Maddox is back in the lineup or can get back on the field for a few plays, that is going to help them in some way, somehow. And then you have to think, hopefully, Darius Slay will be ready for the wild card round, and then you'll have Slay and Maddox back in your starting lineup. And again, that can only make things better because things are so bad right now for that Eagles secondary. What do we got here? Some people say, I think Ringo is going to be a stud given time. And Sidney Brown, I hope you're right. I mean, this year, neither of them have been studs. The secondary, it's been the whole secondary. There's been lots of injuries, but it's been they've been getting beat up. Teams have been taking advantage of them. Really bad quarterbacks have looked really good against this Eagles team. Guys like Sam Howell, Mac Jones had games of their lives against the Eagles secondary. Despite the Eagles winning those games, those QBs lit up the Eagles defense. Got another comment here. I mean, even if he's at a little over half, got to be better than Bradbury, right? Yes, I think so. It's got to help. It's just got to help at this point. And you're right. Well, another comment. The pass rush is not there, and it kills the corners. Yes, that is also right. The pass rush hasn't been the same this year, and the corners can only cover for so long if you're not getting to the quarterback. The pass rush has a direct correlation to how well the secondary plays at times. So we can't forget that. But it wasn't the lack of pass rush fault why the Eagles secondary got torched against the Giants last week. Who was that wide receiver? It was like in the fourth quarter when the Eagles almost blew the game against the Giants. Tyrod Taylor threw that 70-yard pass. It was the Giants' longest play of the season. Tyrod Taylor threw a touchdown pass, and I forget who the wide receiver was, but he didn't even make a move. He just ran straight through the defense, and there seemed to be nothing the Eagles could do about covering him. So that's how bad the secondary is right now. Got a question here. What was your favorite Eagles game so far this season? I don't know if I've had a favorite Eagles game so far this season. All the games have been so torturous and hard to watch and frustrating to watch. If you watched my show yesterday, if you haven't, go to my YouTube channel. I post all my old episodes there. Watch it. I talked about why this Eagles team has been so frustrating this year in 2023. And part of the reason was because their wins haven't been very convincing. There's always but there's always something that seems to go terribly wrong in these games that they're still able to hold on to. So it's been frustrating. What's been your favorite Eagles game to go to? Let me know in the comments what your favorite game, not to go to, but what your favorite game is so far. Oh, anyway, so how it's going to help. Is it going to help enough though? I was just curious because I think as important as a good secondary is, as important as having a guy like Avonte Maddox, having Darius Slay come back into the lineup, there's a part of me that just really feels that the secondary just kind of affects the game the least out of all the defensive positions. Because like we just said earlier, the secondary can be directly affected by the pass rush. If the pass rush is getting to the quarterback quickly and he has to throw the ball out quickly, that's going to help the secondary. If the pass rush isn't getting to the quarterback and the wide receivers are just, able to run all over the field, for long periods of time, well, that's going to hurt the secondary. I think this kind of proves my point. I just wanted to see, if there was a really big difference of Avonte Maddox being in the lineup as opposed to not being in the lineup when it comes to wins and losses for the Eagles. So I went to my new favorite website, StatMuse. If you haven't gone to StatMuse yet, go there. If you're a stat nerd, if you just need to look something up, I think it's the best website. It's quickly becoming my favorite stat website. I still love Baseball Reference and Pro Football Reference, but I love StatMuse, and I hope one day StatMuse will pay me to say that. All right. So I looked up on StatMuse, Eagles record with Avonte Maddox and without Avonte Maddox throughout his career. And throughout his career, when Avonte Maddox is in the lineup, the Eagles are 36, 25, and 1. When he's not in the lineup, they're 20 and 15. So they're still over 500 with or without him in the lineup. So that's why I'm asking, is it going to be enough just to have Avonte Maddox come back into the secondary and help this defense out? I know it's going to help, but I don't know if it's going to help enough. And I think that's what we're all trying to figure out right now. So if you can help me figure that out, let me know. I'd love to chat with you about it. Jerry, you have a great day too. Go Birds. Hopefully I'll be talking to you in the new year after the Eagles beat the Cardinals and they're 12-4. Got a question from Aaron. What do you think about CJ Stroud coming back next game? Is CJ Stroud coming back next game? Is that a fact? I don't know. I mean, I don't know a lot about CJ Stroud. I know that he's probably going to win Rookie of the Year. I don't know if actually he got hurt, so I don't know if he can anymore. But the games he's played, he's looked really, really good. And the Texans were a lot better than anybody possibly would have thought because of him. So I hope he'll probably just get better. I hope he still gets better. All right, so yeah, he cleared protocol and he's practicing. So I hope he plays, and I hope he plays well. Who are the Texans playing? I have no idea. Texans. Oh, they got the Titans. That's a winnable game for the Texans, I think. So we'll see. Oh, they're playing the Colts? Oh, no, they're playing the Titans. They're playing the Colts on January 7th. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about the Texans or CJ Stroud. Thank you for the question, though. I do really appreciate the question, though. Anyway, if you're just joining me, thank you. This is the Ben Caplan Show. I do this show weekdays live here on TikTok, and I post all my episodes to my YouTube channel. So please make sure you follow me here on TikTok, and then you click the link in my bio and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all my new episodes and videos. And I appreciate you all commenting and watching right now. So we're talking about Avonte Maddox. He's coming back. It is a marvel that Avonte Maddox is coming back. Typical recovery time for a torn pec is 6 months. Avonte Maddox is back in what, like 4 months? 3.5? It's crazy. The only other person I've ever known to come back this quickly from a torn pec is John Cena. And that guy's also a freak. So good for you, Avonte Maddox. I'm very happy for you. I'm really excited for you, and I hope you're able to play your ass off, and it makes a huge difference in this secondary. But that's also what I was talking about. Is he going to make enough of a difference? Is Avonte Maddox's presence in the lineup going to make enough of a difference for this 26th ranked passing defense? I think it's going to help. It's definitely going to make things better. No doubt in my mind there. But, it's remained to be seen if it's going to be enough, because there's a lot of holes on this Eagles team, this Eagles defense right now. Got a comment. JJ Watt missed 8 weeks. But yeah, again, JJ Watt also a freak. Sorry. So JJ Watt and John Cena are the only other guys to come back super quick from a torn pec. That is, in my mind, really good company to be in if you're Avonte Maddox. So again, great for Avonte Maddox. So yeah. But anyway, moving on. I touched a bit on this yesterday, but I wanted to bring it up again because, the Eagles still have an outside chance to get the number 1 seed in the NFC. It's not likely, but there's still a shot. It's not dead yet. But a few things need to happen for that. First, the Eagles need to win out. The Eagles need to win against the Cardinals. Then they need to beat the Giants the following week. Then 2 more things need to happen. The 49ers need to go 1-1 over the next 2. And the Detroit Lions need to go 1-1 over the next 2 for the Eagles to get that number 1 seed. So that being said, Detroit is playing Dallas tonight, or Saturday night. Who you rooting for? Dallas or Detroit? Because if the Eagles win out, like we all assume they're going to, then it doesn't matter what Dallas does. The Eagles will win the division regardless of what Dallas does if the Eagles win out. So by that logic, you might, I don't even want to say it, but you might be thinking, well, it's not the worst thing in the world if the Lions lose on Saturday night. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. I, for one, do not feel good about ever rooting for a Dallas team. Ever. I just, even saying it makes me feel like, ugh, it's awful. I never want to do it. The Lions' last game is at home against the Vikings, and a Vikings team that will probably still be fighting for a wild card spot. So, what I'm going to do is I am just going to root for the Lions to go 1-1 over these next 2 games. And whatever one they lose, That's the one. But I do not want to definitively say I am rooting for Dallas over um, over Detroit. That just makes it feel dirty. Now, again, we're all assuming the Eagles are going to win out, so it doesn't matter what Dallas does. But God forbid something goes horribly wrong. I don't want to be ever rooting for Dallas and then have a winning game and it turns out that game helps them win the division. That just would make me feel awful for the rest of my life because that's how much I hate Dallas. So, but what are you doing? Are you rooting for Dallas or are you rooting for the Lions? I can see both arguments, but just me personally, I can't do it. I can't do it. So I'm just rooting for the Lions to go 1-1. So I guess I'm in reality, I'm rooting for the Vikings to beat the Lions the last week of the season, because they'll still be fighting for a playoff spot. So hopefully the Vikings will win that game, but we'll see what happens. Should be a fun game Saturday night. All right. 1 second. Like two teams I can never root for: the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Mets. They're my most hated sports fan bases in the world. I should probably do a whole episode on that. Fan bases we hate. For me, it's just the Mets and the Cowboys. I feel like a lot of other Philly sports fans would agree with how I feel. But yeah, I would just feel dirty rooting for Dallas. So I'm not going to be specifically like, it's weird because I'm not rooting for Dallas to win that game. But like, if the Lions do lose that game on Saturday, it's not the end of the world as long as the Eagles take care of business, right? The underlying fact is the Eagles just need to take care of business these last 2 weeks, and then everything else will play out the way it plays out. But just win the last two very easy winnable games for this season, and then we can worry. Then we don't have to worry. So, but hey, man, it wouldn't be the 2023 Eagles if they didn't make it super interesting towards the end of games, towards the end of the season. It wouldn't be Philly if it wasn't super hard to close something out or to finish something. So anyway, thank you all. If you're just joining us, well, thank you for joining me. This is the Ben Caplan Show. This is my 7th episode. I'm going to start doing the show. I do the show daily here on TikTok, live, and then I post all the episodes to my YouTube channel. So please make sure you follow me here, and you go back, click that link in my bio, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Really appreciate it. Ermi Hero 2020. How's the weather podcasting from your mom's basement? Well, I'm actually podcasting from my office, my home office. Thank you for asking. My mom's basement is kind of dark and dungy. It's dirty. It's gross. I wouldn't want to podcast down there. So I do it in my own office. But appreciate the question and you chiming in. Like always, if you want to join the conversation, hop in on the comments. We were just talking about Avonte Maddox, about how it is just a marvel that he is back and going to be playing, or even has a chance to play this week. It's a medical miracle almost. Maybe not a miracle because some people come back quickly. But the only other two people, like we've discussed, the only other two people I know that have come back this fast or quicker for a torn pec muscle are John Cena and JJ Watt. And to me, those guys are like superhuman genetic freaks. So I think that's just really good company to be in with if you're Avonte Maddox. But again, then the question was, because good for him that he's back. Is it enough? Is Avonte Maddox back in the lineup going to be enough? And I don't know. I don't personally think so. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully it makes a huge difference. But as a point of reference, I was just curious to see if he was that much of a game changer in terms of wins and losses. So in Avonte Maddox's career, when he is lined up and playing for the Eagles, actually, let me start that over. In Avonte Maddox's career, when he's in the lineup and playing, the Eagles are 36, 25, and 1. When he's not in the lineup, they're 20 and 15. So, yeah, the Eagles have 10 more wins when he is in the lineup as opposed to only 5 more wins when he's not in the lineup. But I just don't think that is that huge of a difference to be like, oh man, Avonte Maddox is back. We win games when Avonte Maddox is in the lineup. It's not like Lane Johnson. When Lane Johnson's out of the lineup, the Eagles are in a lot of trouble. I don't know the exact record, but I know it's a losing record when in Lane Johnson's career, if he is out of the lineup, if he's not playing, the Eagles have a losing record. He is that much of a game changer. And I'm not trying to disrespect Avonte Maddox at all. He's a great player, but I just don't think a secondary player has that type of impact on the game unless it's, Deion Sanders. So that's how I feel. How do you feel, everybody? All right. Well, now we got some people fighting in the comments. So that's always fun. I appreciate everyone commenting, having a good time, talking sports here at the Ben Caplan Show. I got a question. When does Slay come back? The Eagles keep saying they hope Darius Slay will be back for the first round of the playoffs, for the wild card round. I think that's the goal with him, but they haven't let us know one way or the other if that's going to happen or not. So I'm pretty sure they still. So to me, that means they still don't know, and it's kind of going to be like, well, we'll find out when we get there. So, fingers crossed, knock on wood, pray to whatever God it is you believe in, but let's hope Darius Slay is in the lineup for the playoffs. I think they can win these 2 games without him against the Cardinals and the Giants, but they already have a really difficult chance with him in the lineup for the playoffs. It's going to be almost impossible, I think, to make a Super Bowl run if Darius Slay is not in the lineup come playoff time. See, we got some more comments here. Appreciate everyone commenting today. This is great. Worst to worst, Maddox has 2 games to catch back up. The game speed, that's a good point too. And also, you have to think, Avonte Maddox it's going to help a little. It's the 26th ranked defense, passing defense in the NFL, which sure they could get a little worse, but I think it's more likely that just with him there, they're going to get a little better. But is it enough? That's the question. This person, Ethan, would rather have Ringo get more reps, but he's playing right now and letting Maddox rest. I don't think you want Avonte Maddox first game, though, to be a playoff game. I think you'd rather have Avonte Maddox have a game or two, under his belt before the playoffs. You need Avonte Maddox to get reps. He hasn't played since September. So I think he's, I doubt, he's going to play every single play, too, coming off a torn pec injury. You have to imagine he's going to be on. If Avonte Maddox does play this week, you'd have to imagine he'd be on some sort of cap or limit, because I don't know if they want him out there for every single play. Is that really smart? I don't know. This guy says a Super Bowl run. Ha ha ha. Okay, this guy's just trolling me right now. Look, man. If the Eagles want a Super Bowl run, Darius Slay has to be in the lineup. If he's not, it's definitely not going to happen. I think it's already incredibly difficult to make a Super Bowl run for this Eagles team right now. They're not playing like a Super Bowl championship team. Like I've been saying for the past week, they're playing like a team who at best can win a home playoff game. And then will probably get bounced on the road in the divisional round. Now, if they get that second home playoff game with the number 2 seed, I think they could win that maybe. But the Eagles don't seem like a team to me right now that can go on the road and win a playoff game. So I've been saying that. But the point is, that doesn't mean the Eagles are just going to give up. It doesn't mean the Eagles are like, we don't have a chance. We're not going to try. No, they're still going to try their hardest. We're still going to root for them. They're still going to play. But I'm saying though, if they want that chance, if you still want that chance to be alive, you need certain players in your lineup. And Darius Slay and Avonte Maddox are those types of players. I'm not saying it's a guarantee they're going to make a run with them, but it's almost more of a guarantee they're not going to make a Super Bowl run with them out of the lineup as opposed to them in the lineup. So that's what I was saying, bro. Especially, they have 3 weeks to get themselves together. That's true. Hopefully they do. That's probably why they want to get Avonte Maddox at least in some reps in this Cardinals game, and hopefully the majority of the game against the Giants, because you want to get the kinks out. You want to get the rust off, so to speak. And hopefully he can use these next couple weeks to do that. And again, it's just crazy that he's healthy. It is wild that Avonte Maddox has come back this fast. And yes, Sean said, hopefully they can get up early in both weeks and let some starters rest. We've been hoping that all season, Sean. We've been hoping that all season. Again, from the show yesterday, if you want to watch that, go to my YouTube channel. But I was saying one of the reasons this team is so frustrating is because their lack of ability to put teams away, to get a lead early, get separation in terms of the score, and then ice the game. The Eagles have lost the ability to do that. And it actually cost them 2 games this season, once against the Jets and once against the Seahawks. They had a chance to win the game against the Jets. All they had to do was get a first down late in the fourth quarter, But Jalen Hurts threw an interception, Jets score a late touchdown, win the game. Same thing with the Seahawks. The Eagles had a chance to put that game away. All they needed was a first down. They couldn't get it. They had to punt. Then Drew Lock drove 92 yards down the field, won the game for the Seahawks. So that's going to cost them in the playoffs as well. If the Eagles get into a position where they have a lead late in the fourth quarter and all they need to do is get a first down, if it's a one-score game and then you get a first down, you get to ice the game, take a knee. I don't trust right now that the Eagles are going to be able to do that. Because it didn't cost them last week, but again, against the Giants last week, the Eagles also had a chance to put the game away. If they get one first down, they go into victory formation, game over. They couldn't do it. Luckily, the defense held on. They got an interception at the end, but there's no ability to put teams away to finish games. They're not finishing. It's very frustrating. So, hear more of my frustrating thoughts. If you want to go to my YouTube channel, click the link in my bio. You can watch my episode from yesterday. You can also subscribe to that channel there. That would be very helpful, and I'd appreciate it. All right. But anyway, so I'm glad we talked Avonte Maddox. I'm glad we talked a little bit about Detroit versus Dallas, who you're rooting for. Again, if we're assuming the Eagles take care of business and win these next two games, it doesn't matter what Dallas does. But it does matter what Detroit does, because the Eagles are fighting Detroit for that number 2 seed, and the Eagles still have an outside chance at the number 1 seed. Now, some people might not think getting the number 2 seed is that different from getting the number 3 seed, but it really is, because if you get the number 2 seed, I know you don't get a first round bye anymore, but you guarantee yourself a second home playoff game if you win the wild card round. A team will have to come to your building in the divisional round if you are the number 2 seed. So it is really important to get that. And for the Eagles to still have a chance, they need the Lions to lose one of these next 2 games. It doesn't matter what Dallas does as long as the Eagles win, right? So by that logic, I don't even want to say it, but who you're rooting for? Personally, I can never root for Dallas. I'm just going to hope that Detroit loses to the Vikings the last week of the season. Hey, the Vikings will be playing for a playoff spot. And honestly, I don't see the 49ers even losing to the Commanders this weekend, but they could lose to the Rams, who will also be fighting for a playoff spot. So we'll see. It's going to be a fun last 2 weeks for all us Eagles fans, won't it? It certainly will. So anyway, this is my last show of 2023. So first of all, thank you to everyone who's tuned in for the start of the Ben Caplan Show. I started it late in December. It's episode 7. So I hope you continue to watch throughout 2024. But because it's my last show, I just kind of wanted to reflect a little bit on the year in Philly sports and maybe look ahead a little bit to see what we have to look forward to as Philly sports fans in the year 2024. 2023 as a sports year, not great. Heartbreaking would be a good term I would use because there was a lot of heartbreak. I think the overall theme of the year for Philly sports in 2023 was not being able to finish. You look at the Eagles, they had a lead at halftime at the Super Bowl, couldn't finish, lost the game. Fast forward to the Sixers, had a 3-2 lead against the Celtics, at a game at home, had a lead in the fourth quarter, lost it, couldn't finish, lost in game 7. Look at the Phillies. Had a 2-0 series lead in the NLCS, blew it, was tied 2-2, went up 3-2, coming back home for 2 games to clinch the NLCS and go to the World Series, and they couldn't finish. So just a frustrating year in Philly sports of teams not being able to finish. And that it's really unfortunate because in that frustration, in those moments of not being able to finish, there was so much good. There was so much fun that happened for all of our sports teams in those moments. Like going to Citizens Bank Park now is a party. It is so much fun to go to a Phillies game, to go to a baseball game where there's 45,000 people and everyone's screaming their head off. It is a blast. And I had such a great time going to Citizens Bank Park this year, going to Phillies games. So it's just a shame that I'm always going to remember 2023 negatively because really they blew it. And that's it's. And I don't try to. I promise you, everybody, I try not to be a Negadelphian. I try to be someone who always stays positive, someone who can try to just root for my teams no matter what. But man, it was hard this year. It was hard this year because there was a lot of blown opportunities by our teams. And there's no guarantee in sports that you're ever going to get back to where you were. So when you have those opportunities, you have to take advantage of them. And it's just really disappointing to have our teams not be able to take advantage of them. For me, the most heartbreaking part of 2023 was the Phillies. The Phillies are without a doubt my number one team in the city. Always have been, always will be. When they went up 2-0 in the NLCS, I was convinced I thought they were sweeping the Diamondbacks. I thought there was no chance the Diamondbacks had at all in this series. It was done. The Phillies just had too much talent. They were too battle tested. They were too good. But man, they just let it slip through their fingers time and time again, whether it was the bullpen blowing leads, whether it was Nick Castellanos not getting a hit after game one, whether it was Harper, Schwarber, Turner going a combined 1 for 13 in games 6 and 7, whether it was the starting pitching not being as sharp in games 6 or 7, whether it was Rob Thompson making really poor decisions. I know everyone gets on Craig Kimbrell for pitching poorly in Arizona, which he deserves to be blasted for that. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think I've heard enough people screaming at Rob Thompson saying, why was Craig Kimbrell even in those situations? I think Thompson mismanaged the bullpen. So there was a lot of frustration, a lot of heartbreak, and I'm still not over it. If you haven't been able to tell, probably won't get over it until the start of next season. That's okay though. It's sports fans. That's what we do. So, I'm not trying to be negative, but just the overall arching theme of 2023 in Philadelphia sports was not being able to finish and blowing leads and blowing games and not taking advantages of opportunities. And it sucks. And I hope with this time next year, we have a different story to tell, that we had teams that finished, that went all the way, that closed. But, here's where we are right now. So let me know what you think, what you thought of the sports year 2023. Jobo says 2023 was just blah. Yeah, blah is a good word. I was starting to say the word bittersweet, but no, bittersweet isn't right. Like the 2022 Phillies, that was bittersweet because that team wasn't supposed to go to the World Series. They weren't supposed to do what they did, and they came really close to winning it. They came 2 games away, and even though they blew a 2-1 series lead, like they did this year in the NLCS, they were playing a Houston Astros team that was far and beyond better than they were. So that was bittersweet. 2023, heartbreaking, frustrating, just bad. I'm glad we're getting past it. I'm glad it's over now. Because it started off right away with the Eagles. I mean, in the Super Bowl, had a 10-point lead at halftime, and just couldn't get it together enough in the second half to finish. And and then you look at the Sixers, and again, couldn't finish. Had a 3-2 series lead, had Boston in the Wells Fargo Center, had a fourth quarter lead late in the fourth quarter. They allowed the Celtics to come back, and then the Celtics got back to Boston and ran the Sixers out of the building that day. So, it's unfortunate the way the year started and kind of went through October for us Philly sports fans. Now, I don't want to say it was all doom and gloom for 2023, the calendar year, because there have been a couple positives that we should recognize. And the first is the Sixers. Despite the early part of 2023, them blowing a 3-2 lead in the second round of the playoffs, the Sixers, I feel kind of quietly even, they're off to their best start for a regular season since the 2000-2001 season, which is when the last time the Sixers went to the NBA Finals. They're 21-9 right now, despite trading James Harden. The Sixers are the Sixers seem to be better without James Harden because it's allowed Tyrese Maxey to progress even more. Tyrese Maxey is averaging, I'm rounding up here, Tyrese Maxey is averaging 26, 4, and 7. That's incredible. I mean, I think going into the season, we were all like, who's going to be the second scorer? Who's going to be that second guy without Harden? Tyrese Maxey was like, oh, I'll do it. Pick me. And it's worked out great. Right now they're third in the East. That doesn't really matter because, again, it's all going to come down to can they get out of the second round of the playoffs. But that's a different topic for a different day. So the Sixers are having a great start. Embiid's having another MVP type season. He's averaging 35, 12, and 6. Again, rounding up, but just having a monster year. I know he's hurt right now. He'll probably be back in the lineup soon. But these are positive things that happened in the year 2023. It wasn't all doom and gloom. So very exciting about that. And then we look to the Flyers, who are also off to a great start, and how, I have recently proclaimed that I am now officially on the Flyers bandwagon for this season. Yes, thank you. I know I've always said I've always loved the Flyers, but over the last 10 years, my interest in them just started kind of waning. And before you knew it, I just kind of completely stopped watching the Flyers. So, but they're off to a great start this year. They're young, they're scrappy, they're second in the Metropolitan Division. They had another great win over a really good Vancouver Canucks team last night. So a lot of positive there. I don't think anybody saw the Flyers coming. From all the hockey people I talk to and all the hockey people I know, nobody saw the Flyers being as good as they are right now. So that's very exciting. And it's been a long time since this city has been really excited about the Flyers. So I'm hoping that they are able to continue this ride and they make a great playoff run. So see, it's not all doom and gloom here in Philadelphia. There have been some positives for the 2023 calendar year in sports. Again, it's like the Sixers starting off well and the Flyers starting off well. They're good. They still kind of feel like consolation prizes, maybe just because the way the Phillies collapsed. To me, it's like the Phillies collapse is up there with all-time collapses in Philadelphia sports. And it is brutal. I'm still not over it. I don't know when I will be over it. Maybe when the next season starts, but we'll see. I'm not as, but what I'm trying to say is I'm more mad about that than the Sixers. I'm over that collapse. But let's see. Hold on. Can't see the Jake says can't see the Sixers getting out of the second round, but next year is their year to make a move. Yeah, Jake, I don't know. We'll see. I feel like if the Sixers don't have to play the Celtics in the second round, they can get out of the second round. I just don't see the Sixers beating the Celtics in the postseason, no matter when they play them. They're not going to play them in the first round because they'll probably finish. The Sixers, the Celtics, and the Bucks are going to finish 1, 2, and 3 in some order, in my humble opinion. So they're not going to have to play the Celtics in the first round, but they might in the second round. So if they play them in the second round, they'll probably lose to them then. If they play them in the Eastern Conference Finals, they'll probably lose to them then. But you know what? That is so far away. I can't be that negative about the Sixers right now. Okay, Jake, a lot of cap space this offseason. This year is fine, being a wash with the Harden mess. All right, Jake, who are the big free agents next season then? After this season, like who is somebody the Sixers can grab that we could get excited about? Because I don't know anybody. That's for the money to figure out. All right. So we'll see. That's like I feel like I could hear like Ari Gold saying that. That's for the money to figure out, Vince. Gonna make that movie. But anyway, yeah, but look, if we can try to all live in the moment and, not worry about what's going to happen in the second round of the playoffs or when the Sixers have to play the Celtics in the playoffs, we can all try to enjoy what's happening right now. I mean, it's really fun watching Joel Embiid play. I know I've said before, does it really matter? If he wins an MVP award, does that really matter? We've seen that before. But in the day-to-day living of a Philly sports fan, it's fun to watch him play. It's fun to watch Maxey play. It's fun to watch the Flyers play. So I'm looking forward to them. I'm looking forward to the Flyers in 2024 because they're young and scrappy and they win a lot of fun and exciting games. I don't know how everybody else feels. I'm officially on the Flyers bandwagon. Kelly from Philly, you not worry about Philly sports. Hey, anything can happen, right? Nothing's impossible, right? So we'll see. But yeah, looking forward to 2024. Let's see what as Philly sports fans. Let me start this over because I might want to make this into a promo. By the way, appreciate all of you tuning in and commenting. This is the Ben Caplan Show. This is episode 7. I do the show weekdays live here on TikTok, and I post all the replays to my YouTube channel. So please make sure you follow me here on TikTok and you click the link in my bio and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can stay on top of all my videos and all my episodes. Quickly, I was going over the year in review 2023, what it looked like for Philly sports fans, and it was, to me, the overall arching theme was teams not being able to finish, whether it was the Eagles in the Super Bowl, the Sixers in the second round of the playoffs to the Celtics, or the Phillies in the NLCS. All three of those teams had chances, had opportunities to win, to move forward, and they all let those opportunities slip right through their fingertips. So unfortunately, that is the overarching theme for 2023 in Philly sports. Wasn't all doom and gloom. I mean, there were a few consolation prizes. Sixers are off to their best start since 2000, 2001. Embiid's having another MVP season. Maxey just keeps progressing. He's averaging 26, 4, and 7. And the Flyers, they're off to a great start. They're second in the Metropolitan Division. They're a young, exciting team. Their team Philly can really get behind, in my opinion. So what do we have to look forward to then in 2024? As Philly sports fans, what do we have forward? As Philly sports fans, what do we have to look forward to in 2024? Well, I think there's a lot. First of all, the Eagles have a chance to go 13-4. Now, I know we all can't stop thinking about the Super Bowl and if this team's good enough to get to the Super Bowl, but can we just think for a moment about how great a 13-4 team is and how hard that is to do and how we shouldn't take this for granted. 13-4 is incredibly difficult to do, and it's exciting that the Eagles still have a chance to go 13-4. You know, hey, we have an Eagles playoff run to look forward to. I've been as negative as the next person, saying, hey, this team can't get out of the divisional round. They maybe can win a home playoff game in the wild card round, but you know, I can't tell the future. I can't predict the future. Who knows what's actually going to happen in the postseason? So we're all still going to watch the Eagles. We're all still going to root for them. They may prove us all wrong. You never know. So let's look forward to an Eagles playoff run, because no matter what happens the rest of the regular season, the Eagles are in the playoffs. We're getting at least one playoff game, so we might as well be excited about it. You know, we can look forward to a 76ers playoff run up to a point, I think. I've always said for this Sixers season to be successful for me, they need to get to the Eastern Conference Finals minimally. Hopefully they can do that. And if somehow they don't have to play Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals, they could get to the NBA Finals. So let's try to be optimistic about the Sixers. Let's get excited about a Flyers playoff run. You know, a young team. I don't know where exactly they'll finish in terms of the Eastern Conference, but the NHL, and much like Major League Baseball is becoming, it's one of those sports where you just get into the playoffs. You just get into the tournament and anything could happen. So, hey, if the Flyers get into the playoffs, anything can happen. They could win a round or two. That could be very exciting. And last but certainly not least, I look towards the Phillies. Yes, the Phillies. Your Philadelphia Phillies, who I am still very angry at, and I am still very not over their collapse in the NLCS. But that's okay, because you know why? The Phillies aren't done. The Phillies aren't done yet. They still have a very good roster. Chris Wheeler. Oh man, no wonder I'm doing the show on TikTok and no one's paying for me. I'm mixing up Zach Wheeler and Chris Wheeler. Let me start that over. The Phillies aren't done yet. We still can look forward to the Phillies in 2024. They still have got a really good lineup. They've still got Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola, and to another extent, Ranger Suarez at the top of their rotation. They still got to figure out the bullpen, but this Phillies team is still going to win 90 plus games. I really believe it. It's going to come down to the Phillies and Braves again in the division. So, and I believe whether it's going to be winning the division or a wild card round, which is probably more likely, but the Phillies will be in the postseason again. And we can look forward to that. And we can all look forward to go to Citizens Bank Park, having a good time with our friends and family, and enjoying the Phillies play baseball, you know, and not freaking out and not screaming when they mess up. But yeah, just because we're mad at the Phillies, just because of what happened in the NLCS, that doesn't mean there's no shot next year. They're going to be a good team. It's going to come down to them and the Braves again, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be excruciating. It's going to be painful. As my dad always says, it's going to be 6 months of pain and torture, but we're going to be along for the ride every second of it. And despite all the heartburn, the heart attacks, just the restless nights they give me, I'm looking forward to it. I can't help myself. All right. So anyway, I think that is just about going to do it for me today. I appreciate everyone who commented, who joined in on the conversation. Appreciate everyone who just watched. This is, if you're just joining me, the Ben Caplan Show. I do the show live here every day on TikTok, and I post all my episodes to YouTube, so make sure to follow me here on TikTok and like and subscribe over on my YouTube channel. You can click the link in my bio. I am done until New Year's. This is my last show of 2023. Appreciate everyone joining in. It was a great ride for 2023. It was a short ride for 2023 for the Ben Caplan Show. But 2024, we're going to take this show even further than anyone ever possibly imagined. And you're going to love the ride. And I appreciate you joining me. So on that note, Happy New Year, everybody. And I will see you in 2024.